Hi everyone, BCA 101, Introduction to Computers and Information Systems. We're in Unit 2, and I'm skipping over all the reviews and going right straight to talking about the next topic. We're going to talk about productivity software. And this part down here we'll get to in a minute, word processing. So we have a way to take words and work with them. Work with text, everything from just the actual text itself, being able to edit, the whole idea of editing, moving it around and so forth, and then format in order, getting it to look and see and be able to be read. Or in some cases, people format it so you can't read it, like the fine print in the contract. So word processing, and some people would think just of something like Microsoft Word, but really word processing is the whole idea of taking some type of content or developing some type of content and then being able to edit it, move it around, change paragraphs, rearrange it so you got it in the order that you want it to be read, okay? And then, nowadays with hyperlinks, you can actually design it and get it in the order you want it to read, or make it the ability to jump around in the document, okay? And then get it to look and make it readable, okay? This whole idea of being able to read the information, the format, how it looks, how you can highlight points. Like when I underline the word format, it probably takes you 7 times longer to read the word than if it wasn't underlined. We talk about things like that. Okay, so this whole idea of managing text. Now, where we put it, oh man, you could print it. You could make it available like in a PDF and email it. You can put it out on a website, make it available on a website where the information is, and so forth. So this whole idea of doing this, you can do it on a lot of different avenues of putting together the word processing. Next one, spreadsheets. Spreadsheets are used to manipulate numbers. And it's more about manipulating numbers than storing them, even though spreadsheets are used for a tremendous amount of things. Okay, they're sometimes used for database work, and I'll mention that in a minute when we talk about database. But the whole idea of spreadsheets is really to be able to take numbers and create numbers either with constants, like type in the number 5, constants, or some type of formula. I'll abbreviate here. So some type of calculation on the numbers. And then we're able to adjust some key numbers and see the calculation and see the results. So a big advantage of spreadsheets are the ability to forecast, do what-if analysis, like budgets. Put a bunch of numbers in and then adjust the budget a little bit and see what the result is. How much income do you need? How much your expenses are going to be, and then you can adjust it during the year as it goes. So this whole idea of being able to do that. Okay, spreadsheets. Database. Change the color here. Databases are a means of organizing our data in a way that makes it accessible in lots of different ways. Okay, databases are huge. When you go to a grocery store and you check out your groceries and they scan the barcode on your product, and that's actually then is a number, goes into the system. That system can go to a database and find the price. Okay, you order some on Amazon, you can go and look that stuff up in a database. So these databases can be sitting out. You can create a local database to do things like keep track of a mailing list for Christmas cards. A database can be stored on a local area of land, or the database can be stored out on some type of web services in a cloud in which you can access it. But in a lot of databases, like a relational database, you create tables of information, and each table covers a certain entity. Like you might have a database at a video store, or let's say a library. The database, you got a table that has all the books or things you can check out. They probably have a table of all the customers, and then maybe a table of what's currently checked out. And then all those can communicate together. So that would be like a relational database, all organized on some storage somewhere. All right. The next one. All right. So I am updating. We had an issue with the previous one, and so let's go to presentation software. You know, really, it's like taking the information you have from maybe a word processor, maybe from a spreadsheet, maybe from a database, and putting it in some type of sequential form of these slides that you go to from one to another in order to make a point. Present an idea. Some people use presentation to keep track of a speech, summarize the main points of what you're talking about. So it's really just another way to display information, and like I said, a lot of times it can be an accumulation of many other things, along with, you can put your graphics here, we'll talk about it in a minute, in a presentation, and have the slides, and you can have them present then like one after another to follow along, typically to make some kind of point or to explain something, try to sell an idea, and so forth. There are some really open source presentation software that's pretty good. Microsoft has theirs, PowerPoint, Google Docs has some presentation, Apple has Keynote, and Prezi. Prezi is another one that is cool. The graphics part, we can include graphics or images in presentations. We can, databases can store graphics. We can take a graphic or an image. We can put it in a spreadsheet as a chart, you know, to show the difference, like a line chart that's maybe showing, you know, one type of sales compared to another type of sales. We could have maybe a pie chart where it's divided up into pieces and so forth. We can take scans or pictures and create graphics, and the advantage of being able to have a graphic that actually gives us a better view of something. For example, it's really pretty simple too to show if you have some kind of a chart in which you're comparing items. It's usually easier to see in a graphic than it is just by looking at the numbers. All right. Now let's emphasize then these three items here. These are really not under graphics. These are separate items. I'm not sure why I have them indented here. And so, first of all, proprietary. Proprietary means that somebody owns the software. Microsoft Office, for example, that has word processing, spreadsheets. If you get the full package, database, presentation, they might even have some type of a graphic type package. And it's a suite, Office suite, that allows you to put it all together, but Microsoft owns it, so you somehow either have to either pay for it or get some licensing, or maybe there's an educational version that's free and so forth. open source, the word source comes from the source code that develops the software. Open source is open for anybody to use. Typically then it's free, there's no cost to it, and it can be adjusted and changed. And there are suites, Open Office, and there used to be one called Star Office and so forth, and GIMP for graphics. There's all kinds of open software to do all these productivity things. Okay. Then you can do a number of these things from a cloud-based scenario. In our class, we use Google, and Google Docs is a generic term. And Google Docs has presentation, it has a spreadsheet, it has word processing, it has a couple different ways of managing graphics and so forth. And you don't put the software on your machine, you access it via the cloud. So the app is in the cloud. Later on we'll talk about the advantages and disadvantages to that. Let me just mention one. If you have a proprietary software, you need to make sure you get the updates from the company. Same thing's true of open source. Open source, sometimes that might be a little bit easier, but it has to be downloaded onto your machine. Whereas cloud-based, the apps are kept up to date in the cloud, and you just access them from the cloud and use them. Alright, so that is it for productivity software suites.